Welcome back, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening. That's all of our energy spent for the day now.
I usually get hyped up for the music and I couldn't hear it today, so good evening.
Welcome back to the Rasselbock Breakdown Backyard. I don't know what we call it anymore.
The post backyard.
Backstreet Backyard.
Yeah, we're here. We're live.
with a backyard related stream.
Yeah, we've had 3 backyards over the weekend. We're going to be digging in. And we've got an esteemed backyarder to come on and have a bit of a chat, bit of an interview.
Yeah, so Vic Owens is going to be, we'll have a chat in a minute. She was at Longbridge over the weekend. Mm-hmm. And she's also kind of embarking on I think it's a 12 and 12 challenge. Where she's doing 12 backyards in 12 months because, one backyard a year is not enough.
No, too simple.
Yeah, too simple. And then 2 is, it's baby's play, really.
Yeah, we want monthly backyards.
Yeah. So we're going to having a chat with Vic, and also having a little look at the other events. So obviously we spoke. Longbridge was on, nice hilly one. We have Putney backyard.
Yep.
Down in London. Putney. And Breakheart backyard, which was
the biggest of the 3.
The biggest of the 3 this weekend. First outing for Breakheart. So I'll have a little dig into that.
Yeah. So, starting, congratulations to all 152 backyarders that were running over the weekend.
Over the 3 events.
Yeah, we enjoyed keeping track of results, drip feeds of Instagram posts,
switching between spreadsheets, and it's always good.
A link here, social media posts there, and they're down to 8 too. Yeah. It's a good weekend of 3 different backyards.
Yeah. So, I think probably have a switch over to Vic.
Let's say hello to Vic.
Let's press the magic button. Whoop. Hey!
Hello, Vic.
Can you hear us all right?
I can hear you.
Hey, we've done something right. It worked. How are you feeling, Vic?
Tired.
It's kind of expected after. Well, this is probably something we'll probably get onto, but you do. You're a barefoot runner as well, aren't you? So I'm assuming you do some of these, if not all of these backyards barefoot.
Yeah, I wear barefoot shoes for racing. I don't have any conventional trainers. So yeah.
So you don't make it tough enough anyway doing 12 in 12 months. You're just like, nope, I don't need shoes. I can run on stones. just make things tougher for you.
Yeah.
So you were at Longbridge this weekend. How did it all go? Do you want to talk us through how the event went for you?
Yeah. So I had done the January version, the winter version. So I had kind of like an idea of what to expect. But it became very clear very quickly that Darren had added in 2 extra hills for the summer version, which was quite a shock to the system. The first one wasn't too bad. We went out a different way, and that went up sort of like this stony little nasty up immediately, which is fine for the beginning because it stops you from running off, doesn't it? But the first out and back, instead of turning around on the flat, he had us climbing quite a nasty little hill. And that was quite a shock because we ran round the corner and saw it. And I was not expecting it. I was like, why is there a tent on the top of the hill over there?
So someone turned all the signs around.
This must be wrong.
What's going on? So it was weird because the people in the field that hadn't done the event before were none the wiser and didn't really care. But all of us who had done the winter event were like, we're being conned. This isn't okay.
this is
I have a problem with this.
Yeah, this is not what we signed up for.
But yeah, that initially was like hard mentally because I went in thinking I've done the course, I can get my goal here, and then all of a sudden yard 1, I was like, I don't know what's happening anymore.
Yeah, all plans, all training out the window.
But it was really warm as well, like really, really warm. And that was really harsh going. I'm not used to the warm weather. I live in North Wales, we don't get heat or warm weather.
As you can see, we put underneath your name somewhere in Wales because I wasn't sure. I just knew you were in Wales somewhere.
Wales is just one place.
So yeah, that was hard. I don't run well in the heat at all. So that was challenging. But yeah, it was the underfooting. Is just like 90% like rocky and stony. It's like farmers' tracks, but it's all stony and rocky.
Loose
And then
surface.
oh yeah, really loose, like
That's
not covered
awful.
in
That's
stone,
rough.
so it's like
Yeah.
stable, like really rough stuff. Yeah, and it was just like constantly seeing someone trip over all the time on a
no.
rock or a stone. Um, and yeah, the only nice bit was to go up the hill, so it was nice on the soles,
Nice
but
bit.
treacherous on the quads.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but I mean, despite all of this, you managed, was it 25 yards?
24 yards.
24
yeah, so
yards, sorry.
that was my minimum goal for the event, and it was really tough to get there. At about yard, I think it was yard 17, my feet started to bleed through my Vivo barefoot material when I started seeing blood. I was like, oh my goodness.
Don't
Every
look down.
step after that was treacherous. I mean, I knew it was bad because I came in from a yard and my dad had the medic ready, and I was just like, we're not taking my shoes off, because it was that incident that if you take your shoes off and see what's happening, you're not going back out there.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm not taking my shoes off. We're just doing this.
I've got a hill to run up.
Yeah,
I'll be back.
Let's wait till 24 and then we'll think about taking them off, because I'm assuming they are not going back on again.
And like my dad cruised me at the backyards, and I always get to a point where I'm like, Dad, this is enough, and he always is like, no, you've got more in you. But we got to 24 and I was like, I'm done, and he was like, okay, we're good with that.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah. It was really tough going, really tough.
Yeah. So you obviously was mentioned that you're doing the 12 and 12. The first question is probably why are you doing 12 backyards in 12 months?
Yeah, so truth be told, when I first heard about backyard ultras, I was like, I could not get my head around it, and I was like, I'll never do a backyard ultra. Like, why would anyone want to start a race that they can't finish? Like, why would anyone want a certain DNF? It was it's the most stupidest thing in the world. But then obviously you put one on, Eric, and I went to it.
You're welcome.
I loved it. I became obsessed. And I did a few that year after doing yours. This was last year, and I had kind of announced publicly that last year was my last year of running big distances. I did entered 200-mile races, and I was like, this is how I'm going to finish my big distance career. And doing your backyard ultra last year in March, I couldn't let go of it because I enjoyed it so much. And I remember saying to my coach, do you think I could do 12 backyard ultras in a year? And I thought he was going to be like, don't be stupid, Vic, but he was like, that'd be so cool. And I was like,
are you currently regretting saying that?
Yeah, you kind of here's this idea, please tell me it's stupid so I don't have to do it. And it's like, no, you said the wrong thing.
I was really hoping you'd shut me down.
And then I started fundraising for Mirkwood as well. So it's kind of like, when you've committed publicly and you start fundraising, there's no out. There is no out anywhere. I'd probably have to break both my ankles and be in a cast to not be able to be on the start line.
So which ones have you done up to this point, and which ones have you got still to come?
So I started in March with Sherwood Pines, and then I did May, Maple Durham, and then I've just done Longbridge. And in 2 weekends, I've got Falcombe. I think that's how you pronounce it.
I don't know how we always say Falcombe.
Yeah.
Falcombe.
It's easy to say that one, regrettably.
Yes.
So we try not to.
And then I've got Pig on the Hill, which is on my home turf, so that'll be nice. It will actually be the only backyard ultra where I'm actually running terrain that's what I run every day. So that'll be really cool.
Well, we do have a question. Someone says, here's an important question for Vic. How is the pig, and will he be fixed before August?
I don't know, but so I went out to recce the route. You can't recce all of it because some of it's on private land, but I did sort of get a gist of what it was like. And Mr. Pig, who's on the peninsula, has got no legs anymore. So we sort of propped him up on a rock, and I am sort of half tempted to go back with like some duct tape to get him back together.
That'd be a great picture.
Yeah, it sounds like you might need a little bit more than duct tape if his legs are gone.
Yeah. But I think now, basically, Mr. Pig is just basically the epitome of what every runner who's going to do that backyard ultra is going to feel like at some point, like with broken legs.
Yeah,
I am the pig.
Yeah. So that's the one you're looking forward to, home turf. What have you got coming up after that?
I've also got I think the next one after that is the Cornwall and Devon backyard ultra.
Lovely.
And then I'm going back to Goldsby, that's Scotland, so that'll be quite an outing because I'll drive down there and then pretty much straight into racing the next day.
You say drive down there, but it's
quite a way.
It's quite
somewhere.
Yeah, we'd love to get up to Goldsby, but I'm thinking it's a 10-hour drive.
Yeah, we're hoping that we can sneak up to Goldsby as well. So
it's a trek. It's up there.
Yes,
it's the right track. Yeah, it's the right track. And then I'm doing the autumn Sherwood Pines again because it's like my favourite route. And then I've got the Longbridge in January, and I'm still searching for my 12th backyard ultra. So if there's any race directors watching that want to invite me over, I've got one in mind. But if I do it, I've got back-to-back weekends of backyard ultras, and and I mean, like now I've got a few that are 2 weeks apart, so it's only one weekend in between, and that seems pretty savage. Back to back is
that's daunting.
Yeah, and do you kind of have like a minimum that you were trying to hit at all these?
Yeah, so I would really, like I said right at the beginning, I'd really love to have a minimum of like 100 miles. I think that's like super respectable. Not that anything less is non-respectable. Don't get me wrong.
But in terms of like, you,
I would love to be able to say like my minimum for all of them was 100 miles. Like I'd be so chuffed with that. So yeah, and I think that's why I was so like persistent at Longbridge, because I was like, it's far too early to let go of that goal.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be like really ultimate for me to be able to do that, and all 12 of them.
Nice. Well, we've got a few more questions that come in. Why is a backyard harder to run 100 miles? Why is a backyard harder to run 100 miles in than any point-to-point 100-mile race?
Because when you run from A to B, 100 miles, you're doing it in effect within cut-off on your own time. So if you want to sit down and sort your feet out for 15 minutes, or you want to take a 20-minute nap, or you've got a bad stomach and you spend 45 minutes in a bush, it's okay. You do not have that on a backyard ultra. And my cozy pace is like between 53 and 55 minutes coming in. So like any mishap really puts pressure on. You're always on Laz's time, aren't you? You're always on that hour. So you don't get to play it out of your own hand. And like I see so many people come into backyard ultras who have done 100 milers before, done them in 20 hours, like, but cannot do it in the backyard ultra format, just really struggle. And it's such a different ball game.
You're running to someone else's pace, and that is.
Yeah. I think that kind of, from what you said with your kind of ideal time, like there was a question that you had.
Yeah, specifically about Longbridge. We noticed on the live scores that you were, it sounds strange to say, but the slowest runner in terms of out on the route. And we wondered, is this strategy? I mean, of course it's strategy, it's an endurance event. But we picked up that you're having a leisurely lap with minimal downtime in between. So that was a planned strategy.
Yeah, so I always plan, like I'm always at the back. And I feel like sometimes I feel like a bit of a cheat, because like I'm always at the back, and the people that are like midfield and at the front, they see me and they're like, come on girl, you can do it. And I'm like, I know, this is my plan.
Yeah, this is why I'm at the back, is because I'm doing it.
And then very slowly they're next to me and they're like, you're still going and we're dying, and then they're gone. And
I've actually done this before.
And they're gone. But it's what works for my body. It's like the most efficient, no energy burning. I can keep going on and on and on with no problem at that pace.
Have you tried it the other way around? Have you tried the fast laps consistently
Yeah,
with
so
a lot of downtime?
Consistently, no. Who do you think I am, John? But I will do some fast laps. You might notice, like, during the nights at some events, I think I did it at Rasselbock. If I get tired, I need that adrenaline burst. So I'll do some fast laps just to, like, keep myself awake. Or if, like, I'm thinking I want to get a full kit change or I want to get, some kip, then I'll put in a fast lap.
Yeah. So yeah, a few more questions.
We have
goats...
Eleanor Gallen in the chat.
Yeah, but first we've got Goats in Bins. I don't know if that name rings a bell, but they say Vic looks as happy as she did at the beginning of Longbridge. After 16 yards, she didn't look happy. Pleased to see her back to normal.
Yeah, my feet were screaming at me. It was like, focus face, focus face.
Just ignore the feet.
Don't talk to me. I'm just moving. And Eleanor Gallen, I think, has finally actually made it to the full live stream. Normally she misses it. Congratulations, Eleanor. He says, Vic, which is your favourite backyard so far in terms of the course and overall experience?
Oh, like, I'm not just saying this either, but I love Sherwood, and I think because it was my first one, and it just, like, kicked off my love for backyards, and the course is so good. Like, I know I can do distance on that course. It just works so well for me. It's got such a variety and a mix-up, and just everything about that course just feels perfect. So yeah, that's definitely my favourite.
I think that's probably something that plays to a lot of people when you say, like, what's your favourite backyard? A lot of people will always kind of not so much default to the first one they ever did. But I think there's kind of a nostalgia thing there.
I think maybe the first one you do sets the context for this one is slower than this one, or this one is hillier than this one that I know quite well.
Because I know that a lot of other backyard runners, especially a lot that did their first one at God's Own, you say to them, what's your favourite backyard? They will always say God's Own. That's the one where I'll do the best. I'll always go, if I'm going to get a good time or, a higher number of yards, that's where they go. So I think...
And Suffolk as well has a few diehards.
Yeah.
That they will run Suffolk.
Yeah. So I think there's probably a good bit of kind of like nostalgia in there into why people always have their favourite ones.
People like what they know.
Yeah.
And we know Rasselbock.
Another one from Eleanor. Which are you most looking forward to out of the rest of this year?
Oh, that's a really good question. I'm currently not looking forward to going back to Longbridge. I'm not going to lie. Really dreading that. What am I looking? I'm looking forward to going back to Goldsby, because I've been there before and I've got that, like, I want to beat my PB, my previous time on that. So that's I'm quite excited about that. I am looking forward to going to the Devon and Cornwall one because my dad's Cornish. So like going back there will be really nice for him. That'll be quite an experience.
Yeah. I've heard good things about Devon and Cornwall. Rebecca, who won it last year, she sings our praises. She absolutely loves it down there. So that should be a nice one for you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The race director has told me that it's so luscious I could do it all barefoot. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, it's good. The complete opposite of Longbridge then.
Yes.
So we were saying that Vic might be one of the most well-drilled backyard runners in the first kind of 10-hour period, the opening hours of the race. Have you been trying new strategies for that opening bit? Do you just feel really comfortable, like, the first 10 hours boring? I know this bit.
Yeah. I think, the first for me, the first 12 yards, they just need to pass. It's just
You're waiting for the race to start at 12.
Yeah. So, yeah, it really is. And I can take sort of like 50k to for my body to just be like, okay, we're good now. I struggle with my lungs, and it can take a while for them to figure themselves out and be normal. Sometimes I run and people ask me if I'm a heavy smoker. I'm like, I've never smoked.
Oh, wow. Just coughing and wheezing over everybody.
I've just got really bad lungs. I have been trying different strategies. So when I did Rasselbock in March, I was so planned. It was ridiculous how organised I was, and I was obsessed. I knew everything, right? and we were doing it to a lot of science as well, so I knew how many calories I had to put in me, and my dad was there and he was like force feeding me. um and then when I did Maple Durham, I said to my dad was on holiday, so my coach crewed me, and I said to him, I don't want that. I just want to just chill and just listen to my body.
Yeah.
So for Longbridge, I kind of met in the middle with that, and that was much better for me. And I've switched up using music like different times. So normally I will run for as long as possible and then put music on. Whereas Longbridge, I did like 3 hours silence and an hour of music, 3 hours of silence, and that was kind of cool because sometimes by the time you get to wanting music, you kind of are also annoyed by it because you're kind of in a bad place anyway. So that was interesting to mix up and use. So yeah, I've been trying different things. And yeah, it's cool. You might as well try different things until it becomes perfect.
Yeah, I mean that comes into another question that's come in. Literally, someone says, "Have you learnt which nutrition works best for you now, or does it change every time?" And it kind of also leans into another one. Have you done any uncrewed versus crewed?
Solo.
How do you manage, and how does this affect your race strategy? So, kind of nutrition and crewed and uncrewed.
So, I was really unfortunate. I think it was about a couple of months before Rasselbock, I learned that I was celiac, which completely like blew away my whole like what I eat. I live off like pasta and pizza, and samosas are amazing, and all that just went out the window. But I found that I run my best on minimal solid food, and I use like fluid to get my food in. I use like active root, but I also use Y Foods, which is like a meal replacement, and that works really well for me. And yeah, I just find that easy to digest, and it just works.
Nice.
I imagine some people would find that really daunting to move on to the meal replacement shakes and give up on what they know.
Yeah, just having a liquid diet during the races almost.
Yeah, but I kind of get to a point, and it's usually about like 5 or 6 hours in, that I can't chew food. Like it will make me heat.
Yeah.
So like I've had to find that like what can I put in me instead that's going to keep me going. So yeah, little and often, that works for me.
And in terms of crewed versus uncrewed, have you actually done a backyard jet uncrewed?
Yeah, so I not in this 12, but last year I went, and after I DNF'd at the bridge, 2 weeks later, I kind of just needed to go out on my own and run somewhere, and I signed up very last minute to God's Own. And I think I ran, I think I did 20 yards there, completely uncrewed, and I really loved it. Yeah. To be fair, I think, Eric, you made me a coffee at some point.
Yes.
Other than that, I was completely just, and I really liked doing that. I think if I turned around now and said to my dad, I don't want crew this one, I think he'd disown me. He'd be gutted.
He's so annoyed.
Yeah.
So,
what do you mean?
not going anywhere without my dad.
So, pivoting onto Longbridge specifically, first of all, how cool is that event? What a nice place to just be. Do you find that just having a nice kind of HQ and a comfortable area surrounded by happy people is a motivator when you're out on the route, knowing that when you get cold in the night or something, 20 minutes time I'm going to be there, and it's just a good place to be.
Yeah, it is. It is always nice sort of running back into a nice environment. The only trouble is sometimes you don't want to leave that nice environment. So there's a really fine line, if like you're going into somewhere that's warm or heated, that is bad. But yeah, Longbridge is great because they're in like barns, so it's not warm or heated, to be fair. It's like you're going in and people are cheering you on. Considering it's such a small event, only 33 of us started last weekend. Like you'd run in and you'd be cheered every time. So it had really good support. It was really lovely, and they had like these drum band playing. That was really cool. Like I spent a bit of energy dancing. That was probably not a good idea. But yeah, coming back into a nice camp, it's good. Like just those little cheers that you get coming in, you kind of feel like, oh, I'm awesome, and that boost can do everything to get you back out onto the next yard.
Brilliant. Yeah, so fostering a good energy from like a race director point of view, having a nice HQ, kind of imperative to get the runners.
Yeah,
back
I think
up
it's
again.
one thing that we've kind of, I won't say we've been struggling with, but trying to find that right balance between making a really nice, fun, cozy HQ, but not making it cozy and fun enough where you don't want to go back out again. Yeah. It's like, actually, it's nice and warm and toasty in this marquee. I'm going to stay here. No, because you want people to get back out again.
Yeah.
So we find it quite tough trying to find that perfect balance and like where that perfect amount lies.
So, back in March, you had 19 yards, which was the course women's record.
January,
January,
yeah.
And now it's been taken from you by Zoe Salt, who ran 29.
29.
Is that kind of like I want that back, or are you just happy to see it pushed forward? Are you just
No, yeah. I think maybe if I'd pulled out at 24 and Zoe had done 25, I would have been like, damn.
Yeah. He said just a little bit more.
yeah.
But no, it's like yeah, it was Zoe's like an incredible runner. Like she was so fast. Like I was halfway through the course and Zoe was already coming down the hill. I was like, and she was running up it every single time. She like I didn't see her walk once. She just and she was back and like consistent throughout. And she was really lovely, and it was quite funny because she had maybe like 5 layers on. She was freezing cold, and in the corral I was going, girl, how are you cold? And I was like, it was like 3 a.m. I was in a vest and sweating, and she was like shivering with gloves and hats, and it was so funny. Well, not funny for her.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
No, it's one thing we noticed when you had the score of the longest time out on the route. Zoe was the shortest time out on the route. She was right on the other end, right at the top of just go.
Yeah, she literally, she was all go, and then she's coming in and sleeping, and that was her strategy, and it worked for her. But yeah, it's amazing to see how everyone has their own strategy, and that's what works for their body.
That's so interesting. I love it.
To be honest, I think that's probably.
I think we've got one more question on elevation.
Yeah. So what was your plan when it came to the elevation? Obviously, you said that you weren't expecting the extra 2 hills added in there. What was your plan, kind of coming into it, thinking it was just the usual route? And how did things change once you were like, oh no, 2 more hills? Did you change?
More.
Did you have to change your strategy drastically, or was it just a case of like, we're just going to do this now?
Yeah. So right at the beginning, Darren said, there's a bit of a course change, and he said that the 24 yards will actually get you 101 miles, and that's only 1 mile, isn't it? In like, but straight away I was like, what?
Yeah.
An extra mile? How very dare you? And that, so it was a little bit longer, but so small. But my strength with elevation is I'm used to it, so I can run the downhills like really well without using energy. So that extra hill we had to do, which gave me that longer time walking, I got back running. Like I noticed when I ran downhill, I'd overtake loads of people. So like I've used to that. A lot of people that did Longbridge were saying we're not used to elevation. We don't do hills. We live flat. We live London. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's like my strength. Like I live in North Wales. All my routes have got elevation. So being able to hike up them quickly and run down them is always great. Like I would definitely take an elevated route over a flat route, but not 750 yards. Like
just a step too far, really.
I mean, it's doable and it's a challenge, but like now I'm thinking next weekend I'm going to be back at the start line with 650 yards per elevation. 650 foot of elevation.
650 yards. That's a big goal.
And I'm like, yeah. So, but I would never want to do like just a flat one. Like that would mess my legs up more. So
yeah,
middle ground is nice.
I think it's one of the stats that I made for later. Sam Brack that ran the 30 yards. The amount of elevation he covered was 19,000 feet, which is Kilimanjaro fourth
Yeah.
biggest mountain on the planet.
In 24
Yeah.
hours.
Just
24.
still.
It's insane,
30.
isn't it? I would really love to see, like at backyards, more backyard race directors doing courses that are different in the night and the day. So they do it at God's Zone. I've ran God's Zone, and I think it's a completely different race when they change it, like at night. So like in the day at God's Zone, they do like this nice foresty trail loop, which I think is not elevated or hard. It's just right. But then in the night, you're mostly just on the canal path, and it's quite flat. And then that's super easy. So when they put you back on that easy forest route, all of a sudden your brain's like, oh, this is hard. This is so much harder than what I've been doing all night. And that's a massive, like, that's a massive mental block. And I think, like, it's a game changer when backyard ultras have a different day and night loop. Like, I'd love to do more of those.
Oh, you never know. Maybe there's a backyard race director watching who's like, let's put a different
Well, what a
loop
good
in.
idea.
Yeah.
I think one final question from the Twitch chat. Someone wondering if you would race outside of the UK.
Well, for my 12,
Possibly, yeah.
if they would like to pay for my flights and hotel, I'm on it.
Fair enough, yeah.
And outside of the 12, is there any kind of backyards that kind of you've...
I haven't looked, to be honest. I mean, obviously, if lads invited me, I might go.
So see the
Travel
diaries
and
out.
hotel, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not something I've really delved into, to be fair. I haven't sort of seen one and been like, oh, I'd love to do that. So
I know they have
I've
some
taken notice.
very big backyard scenes in Australia.
Yeah,
They've got a lot going on over there.
Yeah.
They
I mean,
have
that's
a lot
one...
going on.
I know this is... we kind of stick to more UK backyards on here, but Australia over the next 6 to 9 months, they've got some big events with big runners coming up.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some exciting ones to watch for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to say to the million? Well, I say millions, the tens of people who are watching.
Shout outs, plugs.
Yeah, if you haven't done a backyard ultra yet, do one. Because it really is like the most amazing thing to do. So when you do an A to B race, if you're like me and you're like a slower runner, like I've done races where I've not seen anyone for 30 to 40 miles, but it's like it's really hard going. But like at a backyard ultra, you all come back to that same point and all go out again, and if it's such a nice community feel, and it's so special to have that. So yeah, if anyone hasn't done one yet or they're feeling nervous, just book one, get out there and do it.
Excellent.
Nice.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. It's much appreciated. It's always nice to have a chat with you.
Yeah.
And good luck with the rest of the 12 and 12.
Yeah.
And I'm
Thanks
sure we'll
very
end up maybe when things have calmed down a little bit and you've got over your however many you've got in the next few months, we might get you back and have a chat to see how things are going.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, no worries.
Thank you very
So
much
we'll
for
talk to you
coming
soon. All right, so
Awesome.
there we go. I can take the
What a
headphones
lovely
off.
chat with Vic.
Yeah, she's lovely, isn't she? So yeah, that was wow, that flew by. 40 minutes.
Oops.
Good old chinwag. But no, that was lovely chat with Vic, and lots of obviously she's someone who's done lots of different backyards. So it's nice actually getting almost like first hand experience.
It's kind of like getting a backyard reviewer.
Yeah.
Just someone that knows everyone of everything.
Yeah. So yeah, well, I guess moving on, have a chat about the 3 events over the weekend.
Yeah, be a busy weekend for backyards.
Yeah, I think it's the busiest in the busiest weekend of the UK backyard calendar. And so we'll probably start off Longbridge. We've obviously chatted a good chunk with Vic about that.
Yeah, well, it's fresh on the mind.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a really, really nice grassroots events. And as Vic said, there's 33 runners on the start line. One of the hilliest backyards in the country.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's intense.
Yeah. But yeah, from everything we've seen and everything we've heard, it seems like it was just a nice little kind of almost like a hub at the start line.
Yeah, I think it's
finish.
like a converted barn, so it's like concrete floor. You've got hay bales to rest on, corrugated iron roofs everywhere, and they just decorate it and have like these little wooden boxes with trinkets in for the finishers, and it just looks like a really nice place to be.
Yeah. So it's one that we're hoping to pop down and visit in the next probably January, I think. Will be the next one. Although I've heard rumours that there might be one in October.
Rumours.
Just rumours though. Don't know if that's true.
Dare say.
But yeah, it does look like a really nice one. But if you don't like hills, then
Yeah, perhaps.
maybe give that one a miss.
Or hit it up for a challenge.
Yeah. I mean, all you need is 1 yard.
Yeah, the event was won after 30 hours, so 30 yards, by Sam Brack. Very sorry if I butchered your name.
It seems to be a standard weekly thing when we do these shows.
But 30 yards is 19,000 and a half feet of elevation, which is mountainous.
19,500, not 19 and a half.
19,000 and another half thousand.
Yeah.
It's Kilimanjaro,
Yeah,
which is the fourth biggest mountain on the planet, and in 30 hours you just toodled up to the top.
It's a huge amount, and also the difference between Vic obviously getting to 24 and then Zoe Salt getting the assist with 29 and just powering on all the way through is absolutely incredible. So
it's so interesting that the fastest runner, Zoe Salt, and the slowest of the runners, Vic, just completely different strategies, and both made it into day 2.
Yeah, it's kind of parallels a little bit to going back to Suffolk, and you've got I forgot his name, Antonio. Lucas, sorry. He was by far like 46, 47 minute laps every single lap consistently, end up winning it, and then other runners who still did good distances were kind of 55, 56.
Yeah.
And,
but the amount of time he had to rest, it just depends on what your body's saying.
And it's one of the things that I find most fascinating about backyards is everyone's strategy is completely different.
And it's changing.
Yeah.
Like event on event.
Yeah.
Like 6 months' time, there might be a meta.
Yeah, someone else has come up with a way that works perfect for them, but it's it's exciting, and it looked like an absolutely lovely event down there.
Yeah. So congratulations to Sam for winning the thing, and congratulations to Zoe for the assist and the new women's record on the course.
Yes.
So
I'd say put some round of applause in there, but we're live, so that didn't work.
Onwards. Putney Loop.
Putney Loop. Yeah. So this is they had their first one. I want to say back in January or February.
It's quite recently.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong, but it's their second outing, and as we mentioned last week, it's one that's kind of aimed at raising money for charity. I think it's homeless charities.
Yeah, it's charities. It's raising money through Glassdoor for unhomed people.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely amazing, and the entry fee is not very much.
I think it's low, and I think a minimum of £20 per entry goes to the charity.
Yeah.
So I think I described it as a pop-up event. It's not any bigger than it needs to be. It doesn't promote itself all over social media. It puts its event on, 30 people run, it gets some money, it just puts it all onto the charity, and good stuff.
And everyone has a great time. There's not much in terms of like Instagram posts or updates.
Well, that's the flip side. It's quite tricky to follow.
Yeah, so we're trying to follow along. I got sent the spreadsheet beforehand. So yeah, that was pretty much the only thing that we had to kind of keep tabs on. Which is
it's really nice to follow along, but I think they're happy just doing what they do, put on the event.
Yeah. For everything that we've heard, it's just a nice, again, another nice grassroots event.
It's very unique in the sense that I think 90% of backyards are trail, and this is centre of London. It takes place on pavement, road, I think track.
Yeah.
I don't know if it goes onto a track, but on the description it says track, and that's what we know.
It's one of the things that I think is quite interesting about it is that it starts at, I think it was 6 o'clock in the evening, which means that obviously being in the centre of London, you're starting at 6 in the evening. When that main bulk of runners is running, you're not going to be getting into rush hour traffic and all the people everywhere. So by the time you actually do get to the rush hour the next day, or when it's
it's not a backyard where you're looking at 30-40 hours. I think this one was one, well, definitely.
Yeah.
But it's just a run through the night,
Yeah.
Get to the 21, I think it finished at.
Yeah, so last one was 17, the winner, and this year it went up to 21. So hopefully the next one.
And year, just keep on getting better.
But yeah, we'd love to know more about the event. It's just there's not a huge amount out there.
It looks like a really nice event. They've raised a good chunk of money. I think I saw the 3,000 number on Glassdoor, so I'd love to know more about it. To be honest.
Yeah. But so that was number 2, and then moving on to the third and final one of the weekend.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest and probably the most public because it was live streamed.
Yeah, so Breakheart Backyard Ultra. Oh wow.
Yep, you got it.
Breakheart Backyard Ultra. So down in, I want to say Gloucester, but I feel like I'm wrong. Bristol area. Dursley and Bristol. Yeah. That was on over the weekend. 124 sign-ups, and it was obviously the first outing. So it's kind of with the live stream.
Hell of a production for the first one.
Yes,
good job. Hats off.
And the winner was Joe Robinson. Typed Isaac. Wow.
Isaac Eckington took the win after 26 yards, assisted by someone else.
By Joe Robinson.
Right.
There we go.
It's all falling apart.
Between the two of us, we make like one brain cell, I swear. But obviously we had a chat with Paul last weekend about all about the event and all the preparation that's gone into it.
Yeah, it sounded like a difficult event to prepare for and to put on.
Yes, yeah.
So from more of a race director point of view, I think this was tricky.
Yeah, we heard there was a few things that didn't go to plan in the build-up, and it sounded like Paul was out on the route at about 3 o'clock in the morning, walking around the quarry.
It's the things race directors will do to get everything, keep the show going. The show must go on.
Like 3 o'clock in the morning before you're going to be up for possibly 2 days. It's like still walking around a quarry at night.
Yeah, I think there was something about equipment going missing. It just sounds like such a headache, and he pulled it off. So
fair play, Paul.
Yeah.
You did put on a great event. Everyone that we've talked to so far absolutely loved it. Had a great time.
Took place in a quarry. How cool is that?
Yeah. So that's one that we want to kind of go and explore a little bit and see what it's like when we're down there. But yeah, no, it's really nice backyard, and it was nice to have another one streamed so we could actually.
Yeah, it's so much easier to follow along.
Yeah, just put it in the corner of your screen and just watch it along. Makes it great.
Oh, it's 1:45.
Yeah, you can quickly log back in again.
Yeah.
So that was Breakheart. That was all 3 for the weekend. The UK's busiest backyard for the weekend.
Yeah.
So looking ahead next, I think next weekend or this weekend?
28th. So this weekend. This Friday.
Oh, it's Friday start.
Yes. Big Owls.
Big Owls, new one. New owl on the block.
Yep.
New
Big Owl Backyard. So they're calling it the Baby Ultra. Big Owl Backyard. And that is in Goosnar.
He's been sitting over there for the last 2 hours just being like, Goosnar.
It's just north of Preston, or if you don't know where Preston is, it's just east of Blackpool.
And if you don't know where Blackpool is?
It's near Goosnar. It's another bastard for elevation. It's 620 something feet of elevation per yard, so just a little bit less than Longbridge.
Yeah. We seem to be getting all the big elevation ones in the same month, really.
I remember I loaded up the sign-on page and there was pictures of canal boats, and my first thought was, ooh, a flat one. And I looked at the elevation and I was like, 600, where?
Yeah.
Where's that canal boat?
just go straight up a cliff.
Yeah, but I found some pictures, and terrain-wise it looks like kind of a logging kind of terrain.
Okay.
So very similar to what we have in Sherwood Pines. So kind of mud track, but a lot steeper. And the pictures, it just kind of carries on. It carries on.
I'm hoping that there's going to be some good photos and kind of social media posts about that one.
Yeah, I think it's getting more important now to be pushing out on social media while you're live. It's difficult when you're live and putting on an event to be like, I'll just do a quick social post for
but
maybe 15 minutes.
There's always so many people who are wanting to kind of follow along.
It's becoming more of a spectator thing, and so many people are following at home. Having live results through chip timing, that's becoming more...
I mean, again, it's not essential
standard.
as long as... I think a lot of people just want to know the results, see who's out and see who's finished. So even if it is just a spreadsheet, it's
just something that someone can log on. Yeah. I think there's a charm behind just a spreadsheet.
Yes, yeah.
We like that.
Yeah.
So it's not like, I can't put on a backyard because we don't have live streaming or anything like
nothing like that.
No, get yourself a spreadsheet that someone can tune into, and we'll love it.
You have a look at God's Own Backyard, and for the last 5 events I think they've done, it's very much just shouting the numbers at someone, and they've got pen and paper and then a whiteboard, and then when they're off, your name gets crossed off the whiteboard, and then they take the photo of the whiteboard, put it on Facebook every hour, and it's great. And that's the kind of charm that I think people don't want to lose in the backyards. You don't want to go too tech heavy. It's always nice to have that kind of... there's someone that's done the writing down numbers, making the jump to chip timing. I can sleep.
But
it's always nice kind of grassroots events. But so we're looking forward to Big Owls this weekend.
Hoping something is there to be able to follow along with.
And then after then, I think it's our favourite, because we can never say it, Facolm. Facolm.
I'm saying the L because I feel weird when I don't.
I hope someone in the chat can actually tell us how to say it properly. We asked last week and no one knew. But yeah, that one is coming up pretty soon. I think it's 3 weeks' time.
Yeah, it's another one really worth discovering. Oh, wow, discussing. But we'll probably be live again beforehand. We'll discuss Big Owls, the results, and then we'll discuss Facum next time.
So, unless there's any questions in the chat, we'll probably wrap up now. But we'll be back most likely a week on Thursday.
Yeah, I think it's very tight on timing, so if it's not Thursday next week, it isn't.
Yes. But no, we're going to aim for the same time, 7:30 next Thursday, and we'll obviously look back at... Big Owls, Baby's Backyard. We'll look forward to Facolm. And then after then, it's just 2 left.
Yeah, we're nearing
the end of the qualifying period.
I feel like it was just a few weeks ago we're saying we're getting into backyard summer.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at the tail end of backyard summer.
I mean, there are a lot that are happening in August and September, but in terms of like the qualifying cut-off, there's only 4 more events left. So 4 more chances to make a difference on
Then we get a fresh at-large list.
Yeah, which will then end up changing
rapidly.
Yeah, every event, in theory. It's exciting. Always exciting in the summer. So yeah, until next time, that's pretty much it.
Yep, another thank you to Vic for coming on.
As always, and well done to all the race directors from last weekend, well done to all the runners from last weekend.
152 runners from the weekend.
Yeah, and good luck to everyone who's at Big Owls. And we will check in with you next Thursday. In the meantime, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Toodaloo.
Bye!